Mr Speaker, I seek leave to table the Green Plan Forest newsletter dated December 2009, in which it refers to the windfall gains to 1990 foresters.
Is this document in circulation?
It's
is this a public document in circulation?
It's a newsletter to people who invested in forests in Taumarunui. It's not readily available.
Leave us sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. I call Dr Nick Smith.
A point of order, Mr Speaker. I seek leave to table the Environment and Energy News, in which Mr Rodney Hyde said he supported carbon credits going to the foresters.
Leave us sought for that purpose. Is there any objection? There is objection.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, John Boscowan.
I seek leave to table the Meat and Wool New Zealand calculations of the cost of the emissions trading scheme on beef and sheep and dairy farmers.
This is definitely in the public domain because I've read it, and I won't accept that. Jonathan Young.
Speaker. Mr Speaker, we are gratified to hear of the concerns that the opposition have in regard to inflation in this country, which is why they'll be very happy that we repealed their ETS, which would have seen 10% added to power 1st of January, as well as an increase of 7 cents a litre to fuel. Mr Speaker, looking at the Taxation Budget Measures Bill, we understand the legitimate increase of wealth essentially comes in two ways in this country, either by what people earn or by what the government gives, or in the case of tax cuts, what the government gives back. We need to be reminded, I think, Mr Speaker, that the previous Labour government gave nothing back. Oh, of course, they did. 1 month out from the last election, they did give us a tax cut. After 108 months of government, how coincidental that in the last month we got a tax cut from the previous government? Well, it's because Labour could never afford to give tax cuts for a number of reasons, but one of them is that they just couldn't afford to. The previous Labour government's expenditure grew by 50% in their last 5 years, a bureaucratic blowout to regulate and control New Zealanders. If you go back just even a couple of years, in fact, the 2007 budget papers released under the Official Information Act show that the previous Labour government ministers were well aware of overspending and the contribution that would make to higher interest rates and higher exchange rates. Treasury warned them that they needed to stay close to their previously agreed limits. Otherwise, they would risk an interest rate response from the Reserve Bank, an exchange rate staying higher for longer, and more pronounced economic slowdown. And that's exactly what happened. Mr Speaker, we came into government in a time of dire financial circumstances. It was great to hear what John Armstrong from the New Zealand Herald said about yesterday's budget announcement. He said it has turned those muddy economic waters into wine by constructing a clever package of significant tax cuts when the government's books are written in deep, dark red, just like Mr Mallard's tie. New Zealanders should know what Phil Goff has said should they ever return to the Treasury benches. He said he would lift the highest marginal tax rate back up to 38 cents. He has made no commitment to reduce GST back to 12.5%, and Shane Jones has said today that they will consider a capital gains tax. Mr Speaker, New Zealanders see the economic futility of that type of government that Phil Goff wants to go back to. True wealth generation, in essence, is not about what the government gives or gives back. Stimulus packages can assist, and it's important for the government to prime the pump at times, but true wealth generation is when New Zealanders can, with confidence, invest their money into businesses, big or small, which in turn will earn them a profit, and they can then employ other New Zealanders. Mr Speaker, our incomes are below those in countries we like to compare ourselves with, including Australia. And it's important, Mr Speaker, that this taxation budget measures bill sends a signal to all New Zealanders that this government has confidence in our future and confidence in New Zealanders to be able to build true wealth given the right environment. As I close, I'd like to congratulate the Minister of Finance, the Honourable Bill English and his team, and congratulate the Prime Minister in their great leadership of this nation. Thank you.
Point of order.